we are here in the beginning part of 2022, whereas the last 2 years have really broke the chasm of time for a lot of people. Whether time was moving already pretty fast in 2020 in the beginning of that year, it's likely sped up for you even more, with possibly little periods where it's moving as slowly as possible. But maybe people have some comments on that, on what the last 2 years have felt like in terms of the perception of time, because I feel collectively that everybody is having to maybe contend with a change in their awareness of time, a change in their awareness of how they're functioning within time. And that could be jarring in and of itself. It can create cognitive dissonance for sure. But we don't need to get off on that tangent right away, Marcia. What did you feel like there were a specific weave topic or a theme that we need to drive towards, or are we going to get right into questions?
Well, you're actually speaking to one of the themes that Spirit brought through, which is that time is stretching, folding, and speeding up right now. And so there will be moments where it feels like an entire week has happened in an hour. And then I just had an experience right before the sanctuary call where I knew what to be a 10-minute meditation because I knew I had to be on here. And halfway through the meditation, I thought like it was like 10 o'clock and I had missed the whole call because I felt like I had gone somewhere so far away that I couldn't possibly, only be 3 minutes in. And so just in today alone, I have noticed it stretching, speeding up, and kind of what Spirit is folding in on itself, where it feels like you are in the void itself and that time and space does not exist. And Spirit has talked in the past that as we move into these higher vibrational frames of reference within our soul, that rather than the linear perception of moving through time, like I am a person, I'm born, I go to elementary school, blah, 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 university, family, etc., how the way we were kind of programmed and conditioned to believe, we're actually moving into a new reality where time and space moves through us. And we begin to recognize ourselves as this human divine, this creator being who, when connected and aligned to that source essence, has the ability to bring that through us and to create a reality far beyond what our personality selves or our linear minds could have ever conceived of in the past, even the past of, say, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, etc.
I guess it's best to just take comments or any questions on this. I know from my perspective, just real briefly, that when you're trying to be truly a black belt in your mental self-awareness, where you're not letting little pauses go, where you're just having unaware thoughts or unconscious thinking, that when you do have those, lapses, that it creates a slight rubber band effect and it affects time in that way too. And so forcing time, or I guess I would say allowing time to flow through you, I firmly believe has something to do with mental self-awareness, with, not being so loosey-goosey with your mental chatter.
Presence, absolutely. When we're in our presence, we are allowing time and space to flow through us. But the second that we're in those upper chakras and we're thinking or we're analyzing, we're now in the linear time construct. And one of the things that we've talked about on several calls is Spirit calling this particular timeline the greatest hits timeline, where we're kind of reliving the greatest songs we've ever done, but also maybe the greatest flops or the true greatest hits we've ever taken in a souled being. So not just as we are in this human incarnation, but in any time that our soul has experienced physicality, and that we are experiencing timelines converging into a singularity. And so we might be one of ourselves at 8 a.m. and a different self by 10 a.m. and then another self by 1 p.m. And while it's all nuanced and we may not even notice it if we're kind of busy and moving distracted through our day, if we do have that receptivity and that presence, we may realize that 2 hours ago seems like an ancient time period, or we may be starting to have memories come forward, from preschool or from a time in our lives that was so long ago, but that memory feels as if it's happening in our cellular matrix in that now moment. And so time is kind of acting funny in the way that we have been traditionally used to experiencing it. But as we move into what Spirit calls the eternal now, we can find ourselves being magicians and working with time and with the quantum shifts that that allows, rather than feeling kind of succumbed to time or overwhelmed by time, which often leads us to feelings of anxiety and just untethered to our present moment.
Yeah, I like calling it feeling under the weave, where your receptiveness is altogether sullied by whatever state of awareness or state of being that you're in. And I just wanted to yield the floor here. I think I saw Carrie's hand go up first. Let's go ahead and just leave it open here. Come on in.
Hi, this is Carrie. I just wanted to say about time. It's been my experience that just overall time has just been going faster and faster and faster. And I'm like, how am I supposed to keep up with this? But in the last week, my memory was jogged by, you know, a comment about time jumps. Several times I look at the clock and I'm like, okay, I have 45 minutes. I tell the kids we have to leave in 45 minutes, and it feels like 5 minutes. And I look at the clock, and I even said, I was like, I just looked at the clock 10 minutes ago. I can't even believe it's the time. And we were supposed to leave. And it just kept happening over and over, just in the last week. So that's what I wanted to comment on, because it's never happened to me like that before. And all of a sudden, now it seems to be happening frequently.
Yeah, that's a really fair comment. Marcia, did you have any reply to that?
Just that that's been the experience for a lot of people. And I think, even more so moving forward.
Definitely. I go ahead. Let's go ahead and yield the floor again. Go ahead, Heather.
Hi. Okay, so this is Heather, and I'm curious if any of you have had this experience. I find myself overwhelmed and almost, I don't want to use the word, but just if I'm really honest, like disgusted with when I see, like examples of our world as it is right now. And what it feels like to me is that part of my spirit is connecting with a time that I lived in a simpler time before there were like skyscrapers and cars and all these fast moving things and phones and everything like that. And it almost like makes me sick to my stomach. And it's intensifying to the point that I want to just go and live in a cave somewhere. And it's not all the time, but it does hit me sometimes where I'm going like, I feel like my spirit will time jump sometimes to, I'm not putting into the best words, but I hope most of you understand what I'm saying, like almost to another lifetime. I'll yield the floor.
So what you're speaking to is incredible. First of all, it's a multidimensional gift that you're experiencing. But what I feel like is happening, and you can of course only take what feels true to you, is that we need to anchor in simpler times. That's actually what's being required of us and the soul right now. We're not actually meant to be getting faster in the ways that society is attempting to make us move faster. We're actually being asked to slow down. And so our soul is connecting to other points in time and space where it has experienced that level of richness, so that it can bring that remembrance into this now moment. Because if enough of us are feeling that, which I know from my experience that many, many of us are, we are actually bringing that or dream weaving that reality into this reality by allowing ourselves to remember and allowing ourselves to connect to those other times and spaces.
Thank you so much. That helps me immensely, Marcia.
I know I can certainly feel familiarity with what she just said. There's a lot of places that I've gone where some strange overlay is forced upon my inner eye, where I'm almost put into a place of a Native American, and the overlay asks of me, it's like, what would it feel like if you were just, walking through this valley to go trade with some people on the other side of that ridge, or you were just canoeing down the stream to go see some friends because you actually had a little extra venison and you wanted to see if they needed some. And it's strange. They're very strange because I don't have any personal identification with the overlay. But as Heather said, the overlaying energy is that it's very, very simple. And due to its simplicity, it's very, very conducive to threading back through our heart. There's no mental artificial overlays on top of that. And I think that's what really makes the differentiation for me personally.